We're excited to share that we've expanded our Rapid VM Restore technology to support Hyper-V. In this video, we'll review how Rapid VM Restore, or RVMR, works, go over a few system requirements specific to Hyper-V, and then do a demonstration. To review, RVMR allows restoring a virtual machine backup to a running state in a matter of minutes, regardless of the size of the VM. This greatly improves your RTO and business continuity in the case of a VM outage or disaster, and allows you to migrate the RVMR VM disks to permanent storage later at a more convenient time. For standalone Hyper-V, the permanent storage location can be the local disks. In a Hyper-V cluster, you can migrate to cluster shared volumes. Before we get to the demo, let's go over a few requirements. The Hyper-V agent must be version 9.00 or later, Portal must be version 8.89 or later, and Director must be version 8.50 or later. The RVMR feature must be enabled in Portal and Director, and the VMs themselves must not have disabled checkpoints in their configuration. This is not a comprehensive list of requirements, but the full list and details can be found in our written documentation. For context, let's quickly look at our demo cluster in Hyper-V. We have a VM with successful full backups that we'll be restoring from, and another VM that has been set up and registered to Portal as the coordinator that will facilitate the RVMR. Just remember that these have a series of setup requirements detailed in our documentation that must be in place before an RVMR is available. To start an RVMR restore, sign into Portal and click the Computers tab. Then open the VM backup you need to restore. The default view is Current Inventory, which displays VMs that are currently registered to the Hyper-V inventory. If you're performing a test RVMR of a functional VM to verify the backup, you'll find the VM here. However, if you want to restore a protected VM that has been deleted, you'll have to change this dropdown to Protected Inventory first. This will show all protected VMs that have since been removed from the inventory. Mark the checkbox next to the VM you want to recover. While it is possible to run multiple Hyper-V RVMRs concurrently, they must be initiated one at a time, so please make sure you've only selected one VM before continuing. Next, click this button to open your restore options. In this screen, select Virtual Machine using Rapid VM Restore. Remember, this option will only show when all setup requirements are met. Next, we'll configure the RVMR. If you have more than one safe set, you can click the calendar icon to select which safe set you'd like to recover. Then enter your encryption password. The Restored VM Name field will default to the name of the original VM. If you keep the original name, the software will automatically append RVMR and a timestamp to the restored VM. Or you could enter a custom name here, which I'll do. Under Select Volume, choose one of the available storage devices that RVMR will use as the checkpoint location. RVMR restores are placed at the root of the selected storage location by default, but you could enter a subfolder name here to direct it there instead if you want. Under Destination Host, select the node where you want RVMR to start. The restore is set to automatically power on the VM and connect to the network after restoring, but you could uncheck either option here if desired. When you're ready for liftoff, click Run Restore. After a quick load screen, you'll see that the Rapid VM Restore is starting. Notice the Cancel Rapid VM Restore button here. Clicking this will cancel the process and reverse all the automatic actions taken to set up the RVMR. This button stays available while the RVMR is running and can be selected at any time to close the RVMR and perform any necessary cleanup. In a matter of minutes, you'll see the status change to Rapid VM Restore is running. Once you see this status, your RVMR is fully functional and ready to use. This is all you have to do to perform a Rapid VM Restore. But let's look back in the Hyper-V Manager to see what's happening. We can see that there's a new VM in the cluster on the node that was selected during the RVMR setup. This is our restored VM backup, and it's running just like any other VM would be. Startup time will vary slightly depending on the network traffic, vault load, and available resources in the cluster. A checkpoint will automatically be created to preserve the OS and user level changes on the VM until it's migrated to permanent storage. Back in Portal, we can refresh the current inventory list to see a new entry for our RVMR because it's working like a normal VM. Remember, we created it using this VM here. This spinning icon indicates that this VM is in an RVMR state. You can click this icon to reopen the RVMR status window. Your RVMR will work as a functional VM. However, due to a restriction in Hyper-V, you cannot back it up with a backup job while it's in RVMR status. Because of this, we strongly recommend migrating it to a permanent storage location as soon as you can. To do that, open this status window by clicking the spinning icon, then click Migrate VM. You can migrate the VM to the same temporary location where you set the RVMR, which is the default choice, or you can select any other available storage device that is registered to Hyper-V. Just like the initial setup, you can enter an optional subpath or not, and click Start Migration. The status will update to indicate that the VM migration is in progress. This process will take some time, and larger VMs will take longer. The rest of the migration process will happen automatically for you from here, but can be canceled at any time before completion by clicking Cancel Migration. Canceling would halt the copy of the VM to permanent storage and leave the RVMR running. In the Hyper-V Manager, we can see that the VM is moving storage. When the migration finishes, Carbonite Server Backup handles all the cleanup operations and merges the snapshot. If the original VM is deleted or no longer registered, this migrated VM will retain the same UUID and any existing backup jobs will resume normally. However, if the original VM still exists, the migrated VM will gain a new UUID to avoid a conflict. Since it has a new UUID, it will have to be added to a new or existing job in the Hyper-V agent to begin new backups. After the migration is complete, the spinning icon will disappear from the selected virtual machine in Portal, signifying that the VM is no longer in RVMR status, and your migrated VM will remain in the current inventory. This VM is now in permanent storage, and you can resume or begin new backups. We hope you found this demonstration for Rapid VM Restore in Hyper-V helpful. For more information and details, please search our online knowledge base for Hyper-V Rapid VM Restore.